Hi, my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel, and I wanted to talk today about overwintering onions. Now last year so many of them went to seed, pretty much probably 60% of the red ones went to seed, and I'd grown them from sets, and probably maybe 20% of the yellow ones went to seed as well, and I was pretty discouraged, and I thought, well, there's not a lot of point growing them anymore because basically you don't get them that much earlier than you get your main crop onions, etc, etc. So I was kind of convincing myself that I would just go to the shops. So I told Debbie that, and she said, no, we are not buying onions from the shops. We've no idea how they've been treated, what they've been sprayed with, etc, etc. And you know, we don't buy any other vegetables from the shops, and so we thought, no, okay, let's give it another go. So this year we decided to grow from seed. We grew 3 varieties. So we grew, I can't pronounce it, but Shenshu Yellow, Toughball and Sturon. Well, Sturon isn't really an overwintering onion. Well, it survives overwinter, but it's not really designed for overwintering. It's a 16-hour day onion, so it starts to bulb up when the daylight hours reach 16 hours. Whereas Toughball is a 14-hour onion, so that starts to bulb up when daylight hours reach 14, so that is a much better onion for growing over winter. Having said that, if you want a nice succession of lovely fresh onions up until when you harvest your main crop, a mix of Toughball and Sturon seems to be really good. Anyway, that's what I did. I covered 2 beds with a little low tunnel to provide a little bit of protection in the hope that we would get them a little bit earlier. And then we just did 1 bed outdoors. Now all of them did fine. The Shenshu Yellow, some of those have started to go to seed, and they are much smaller than the Toughball, so I'm only going to grow Toughball next year. But both beds of Toughball have done really well. The ones that were under cover are bigger and ready for harvest now. The ones that were outdoors all the time are a little bit smaller, but they're still good size, and we'll probably harvest those in a couple of weeks. The Sturon are nowhere near ready, which is fine because we don't need them yet, because we've got loads of the Toughball and Shenshu Yellows available anyway. So by design, those will be ready in maybe about a month's time, so beginning of July. They're the ones we'll eat through July until the main crop are ready in August. So it's actually worked out quite well, and I can now see there's a real benefit to growing them over winter. You do get them earlier, about maybe 2 months earlier. I mean, you could probably pick your main crop ones when they're a bit small, but why waste them? Leave those until to mature, and it's worth it. We've only got about 2.5 square meters of bed space dedicated to those onions, and they're going to last us for 2 months and the rest of the family. So yeah, I mean, it's been worth it, and I've liked watching them grow. That's always a big part of it for me. Is it something that I like watching grow? And I have. They look really nice. We've taken the thinnings off the Sturon, so we planted those at spring onion density, so between 6 and 9 onions in a clump. And that's just basically, well, I always put about 9 onions in, but not always 9 onions germinate, so it's between 6 and 9 normally. And so about 2 months ago we started thinning those out, so there's only 3 or 4 left in a clump, and so that gives them enough space to get a decent sized onion. Obviously you could continue to thin them and or put less in the first place. The Toughball were 3 or 4 seeds to a clump, and they've done great. I mean, I've been very pleased with the yield from those. So let me show you what we've got. So we've got 2 beds like this one that are mostly Toughball. In fact, next year I'm definitely only growing Toughball. They seem by far the best. These Shenshu Yellow, or whatever they're called at the back, are nowhere near as good. And actually quite a few of them are going to seed. So it's definitely Toughball and Sturon for me. So these are the Toughball I'm taking out today, and obviously we've taken a whole load out, the bigger ones that were there. They've already come out. These are Sturon, and you can see that the Sturon are not much different really to the true overwintering onions. So Sturon work really well for me. I'm really happy with them. And obviously Sturon are a 16-hour day onion, so they've only just started bulbing up. And they're going at quite a rate. I'm pretty pleased. And this was basically just a bed of spring onions, and we just had enough spring onions anyway, so we just thinned this out and have let it grow on. And it looks like we're going to get a pretty good crop of onions, and should be ready by July. And that's basically when these will run out. So I'm going to pick these, and I'll show you what we've got because it's easy to see once they've been picked. So these are the Toughball, and I would say there's probably enough there to see us through until the main crop are ready. So just those are pretty good, and we've got another bed as well. It's probably got about the same number as that, but we don't need that bed yet, so we'll leave those in just to grow a little bit more. So then these are the others, and these will probably get processed first, and we'll probably process these and freeze them, whereas these look good enough to store. And although they're overwintered onions, are not renowned for their storing qualities, Toughball are pretty good by all accounts, and so they'll definitely last us. Well, we'll have eaten these in 4 weeks, and then we'll be on to the next bed. So I've just popped them into the mini greenhouse, which we repurpose into a drying room at this time of year. So these onions will be in here only for a couple of weeks, because really we need the space for the garlic, and the whole area will be full of garlic easily in a couple of weeks' time, and then it'll stay full of garlic probably until we start harvesting the main crop onions. So, hope you like this quick video. Have you done early onions? And if so, how did they go? Any other hints and tips? Because this is only my second year really of doing overwintered onions, so I'm pretty pleased with it. But of course, it could all go disastrously wrong next year. Who knows? We did have a very mild winter, it's worth saying. Anyway, my name's Steve. This is the Seaside Allotment Channel, and I'll see you soon.